Good evening. This is KastKing on the line with your host, Nikki. And tonight we have a very, very special guest, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Give It Away, AJ Gore. AJ!
Oh,
Woo! Come on down, baby.
you're, I'd love, you know what? I'd love have that. Come on down. The Price is Right, man. That was such,
I have, dude, I have
such a great line
always
to me. Come
I have always wanted that intro. I have always wanted someone to say that for me. Come on down.
on. Yeah, that'd be. You know what? You're on. The Price is Right, man. Your whole life could change, right?
That's awesome. AJ Gore, give it away, AJ. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. Glad to be here. Glad to be on this podcast, this recording. Man, it's doing good. You know, just along for the ride. You know how it goes.
I'm so excited. I'm so stoked to have you on the show, on KastKing on the Line, because you have had me on your show. For people that don't know, Mr. Give It Away AJ runs the KastKing live show every Tuesday night. He is absolutely amazing, and I have learned so much from AJ. In fact, the reason I'm in KastKing and part of KastKing is because of AJ. And now that I do my own live shows, I look to him and I look up to him as a mentor. And it's awesome to have him as a friend and mentor. And I'm so happy to have him on my show. It's just very exciting to share that with you. How long have you been doing KastKing? You've been with them since the beginning, since the Stone Age.
Pretty much, pretty much. So I wasn't the first original member, but I am from the first original group. We've had people come and go, you know, and with any business, any franchise, any group, any gang, any hustle, any clique, you're gonna have people come and go, but you're gonna have people that are the hardcore OGs, you know. And I guess I'm about as OG as it gets when it comes to the KastKing ambassadors and the support team behind the actual brand, you know. And that's the crazy thing is KastKing's a brand, but I like to also think of it as a family, you know.
Yes.
And to be a part of it since pretty much its fruition, I got to be a part. I had the opportunity, and that's what I gotta say is I was blessed with the opportunity to be a part of it. And you know, and that's what a lot of people don't realize is even if something's an opportunity and a blessing, you still got to work, you still got to earn it, you still got to do your part, and you still got to hustle. Maybe that's why some people have come and gone because they didn't quite get that kind of idea.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I've been here for over 7 years now. The company is a little over 7 years old, and I got with them. I want to say it was probably 5, 6 months after KastKing Poseidon, the mothership became an entity. So it's pretty cool to be there from the beginning, you know, to go to the first iCast, to go to the, you know, some of the Bassmaster classics. I've pretty much been a part of every iCast since they started, except for this last one with, you know, the whole COVID dilemma and issue that we're facing there. But you know, it's been fun. It's been a fun ride. It's been a lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings, a lot of long days. But you know, the smile on my face is genuine because it's I don't know how to describe it. It's been neat. I've learned a lot. You know, like you said, you know, you kind of owe it to me to be where you're at, not where you're at. You've earned your stature by far. But you know, you were asked. You know, I kind of approached you like, hey, I got an idea. I don't know if you're up for it. I think you'd be a great person for this. Um, but it's just neat, you know, to see it all change. And it was like to watch how much I've learned. And it was all because of KastKing. Like KastKing really taught me, or at least gave me the open door to do what I do in so many different avenues. I've always been kind of a, you know, a hustler, so to speak. I'm a salesman by trade. I do a lot of different craftsman work. I've always fished. I've done promote work for fight companies and other automotive stuff. So when I took from my hobby of fishing and moved into it as a whole different spectrum, like, you know what, I'm going to share the love for this and advertise this and show people what I know. It's been neat, man. It's kind of neat. Like they say, you know, you'll never work a day in your life. You will work, but it's a different feeling. you know?
It really, really is. It is a different feeling. And when you said that it's not just a company or something, someone you work for, this is a family. And you know how important that is to me, the camaraderie. And that was one of the very first
Mhm.
things I mentioned to you when you approached me about joining KastKing. I said to you, and you were busy, you were doing one of your other jobs, which I'll get to in a second. And I had called you and I said, AJ, what am I getting into? What is KastKing? Who is KastKing? I don't know what I'm doing. You know, I know I'm being approached and I know I'm being asked, and should I be with this company? Please be honest with me. And you did. You talked to me for over an hour and you laid it on the line and you told me everything about KastKing from top to bottom, everything it entailed and what the company was about. And the big thing that stood out to me is you said, yes, there's camaraderie. It's like a family, Nikki. And that's what sold me, is that's what I wanted. I wanted somebody coming from military and coming from the police force. I wanted to be around people that were going to have my back. I wanted to work with people that were a family and that took care of each other, not somebody that was going to stab you in the back or not somebody that's going to use you and abuse you, you know. And you told me, and you're, like I said, you were the one, you got me in KastKing, and that's because of you. And I'm so happy I did.
Well, you know, I mean, that's a point to that, you know, like I said, you're gonna have people come, you're gonna have people go in these environments, and realistically, it's you get what you put in, and sometimes people will expect to receive more before they've ever put in,
Right.
and you know, and it's a relationship. Like, hey, you know, we as long as we understand our common goal is to provide a good product
Hmm.
at a great price to the people and build a relationship with these people and take care of them when they need to be taken care of. That's realistically the overall goal, you know. But at the end, it's still a business. It's still a business. There is a big camaraderie and a big family um, environment to it, but it's still a business. And some people will forget. Okay, we can all have this, you know, love and this family and this, you know, everybody hugging, everybody's great, and we're all best friends. But you still have an end goal. You still have results. You still have accountability. And you know, I mean, even myself, I can tell you right now that the people that are above me can definitely go, yeah. You haven't made up all on all your goals, and you fall short sometimes. You know, and some of the biggest things I've ever heard is you know, like, just let us know what you can do and let's go for it. You know, I got a fly in here. I'm sorry if I don't know if you
That's
can
all
see
right.
it. There's
I
I'm
seen it.
out in my garage, which is adjacent to where we're at.
The
Yeah,
fly.
and I was actually bringing in new rods that I just ordered. Uh, I was bringing them in, and I had the door open.
Oh
And
wow.
apparently in Arizona, the bugs are still out, and I had a fly get in here. So my
He actually
apologies if that's
landed on your
distracting,
head.
because it's distracting me. Did it really? Oh, that's like the worst. Oh well. And I'm over here I was trying to get rid of it before we started,
No,
but oh
man,
well.
it was hilarious. It's like the fly's part of the show.
Right. It's
But
crazy.
that's
So
great. But yeah, definitely, it's a business in the end, you know, and we're here to help promote the company and work with the company and tell the world and let the world know just how amazing they are and just at affordable price. And so that's the best thing that people don't understand, you know. Uh, they
right,
look at the prices and they're like, man, that's too good to be true. The prices are just they're cheaper. They're cheaper prices. You know why?
right. Yeah, and one thing, a stigma I've seen too much. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, no. I'm finished.
Oh, I had a little glitch, so I thought you stopped for me. But one thing that I've seen too much is some people even look at they some almost buy into it too quick too. They go, oh, well, that reel is so affordable, and then all of a sudden they believe that our 40, $50 reel is as good as the competitor's
Right.
$500 reel. Now, granted, and I've seen that too. I'm like, you still got to compare apples to apples and know your product. So you know, you have entry level, then you have pro and elite series. You know, we have a product for everybody, and you get the misconception of some people believe it's too cheap to be true, and then you get the misconception of, well, this is supposed to be an affordable reel, so this $50 reel should be every bit as good as that $400 reel. And it's like, well, understand what you got, and let's make sure we're comparing apples to apples. But we've got so many great products for every price range, And once you understand where you fall, man, it leaves a lot of smiles. And it's kind of like, our Royal Legend GT, such a great reel, comes in like 40, 45 bucks, to our Bassmaster, which is the same thing that Brent Chapman, Cliff Crochet, and a lot of other elite pros are using. They share a lot of similarities, but they are two different animals. And it's neat when you can let people still use a $40, $50 reel and they're like, wow, that's insane. That thing feels as good as this one. But you also have to still want to educate them on, okay, now look, let me teach you about this and what makes them different, what sets them apart, and it's pretty neat, when you can actually, and that's another cool thing, being a part of this company is I've learned so much about product itself and fishing itself. And doing this, when I got started into doing this and promoting, I didn't know about nano resins. I didn't know about a lot of different guides. You kind of just pick up a thing or two, you read off some packages and go, oh, 10+1 ball bearings. I'm told that that's the best, and you start to learn after a while when you start researching and have to understand your very own product that you're representing. You start realizing, oh, see, I had such a misconception about this. I had such a different idea on this, and it's neat because you would never, ever know these things without like the opportunity of doing what I do. Like, for instance, I've had several high-end guys that are far superior fishermen than I am, and they'll not understand something on this reel. And I'm like, really? You guys don't know? You don't know? I'm like, but you're one of the best. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I just thought you knew this. And I teach them something real quick and show them how to do something on the reel. And they're like, oh, I never knew that. And it's like, you kind of stand back and go, wow. And I guess that's the professionalism of learning, and then sharing that. Even, when you in a way, I believe I'm sharing to a lot of like entry-level guys or mid-level guys, but then it kind of blows your mind how you have top of the food chain will still tune into what you're saying and then learn from you. And you're like, that just goes to show when you can actually teach somebody or show somebody something, you can actually truly teach the world, no matter who they are. And it's kind of neat. And I've done that with KastKing. It's cool. So, and I'm pretty well versed in all our products, the majority of them, except for the saltwater stuff. I'm still a little, I don't have any, there's no oceans around me or anything.
I know you are very well said, by the way, but yes, you are very well versed, and that's why I said I learn a lot from you, from just watching the live shows, when you talk about the products, when you're doing a giveaway or you're talking about the next product coming out or the product you have a hold of and you're trying to unveil it to the people. It's like you said, it entails so much, and I've learned so much by just being with KastKing. You talk about nano resins, ball bearings and things that I took for granted before when I would get a reel or a rod and, oh, okay, that's just that, or I don't know what it does, but whatever. Does this thing, cast? That's all I care about. Now I'm going in there, I'm looking at the brakes and, I'm centrifugal brakes. I never knew anything about centrifugal brakes before my entire life.
Yeah.
And it's just really cool because being part of the KastKing, they teach you and you just learn so much.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, watching you, I've learned a lot, but very well said.
And there's so many new innovations that are always coming to the table. In the 7 years that I've been a part of it, I went from being what I thought was, fish my whole life. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about, to a degree of all of a sudden now you're in this professional setting to where you start having to know everything and learn all this stuff so you can actually represent it correctly and educate on it correctly. And then after a while, you start learning new things yourself, or you see new things come about and you go, oh no, I don't know if I can grasp, I don't want to screw this up, and you start getting nervous yourself. And it's funny because like, since I started doing KastKing Live, we'll have products that I try to show, I'll present to the table a week or two before they actually are released. So there are times where the stuff doesn't hit my desk, so to speak, until the day of the show. And the listing or the product information isn't live and accessible. And by working a day job and stuff, sometimes I'll actually get the product and I have to know it, or something will change. And all of a sudden we're like, hey, can we get this on the show tonight? It's like, yeah, we can actually. Yeah, let's do it. And then all of a sudden 30 minutes before the show, I got to learn that product, like all of it, like everything about it, you know, and you're like, oh my God. Like, okay, so you're reading, you're trying to get your notes going, you're trying to make sure you got the guests ready to go, you know, and then you get this new product that wasn't in the schedule for the show that night, but you're like, okay, let's take a look at this, you know, and then all of a sudden you get halfway through it, you're like, oh, that's neat, that is really cool, and then all of a sudden you actually call one of the engineers, like, explain this to me, because I think I got it, but I don't want to portray it wrong. And I can't tell you how many times I've actually done that and talked to, you know, some higher ups, like, I know I go live in 15 minutes, but I want to make sure I know this for sure before I try to sell it to the world and tell them that this is the way this is and I'm wrong to a degree. It's kind of neat. And of course, so you get a crash course fast, but by the end of it, I know everything about it, you know, and then I get to use it and do other film work with it. And what's neat is by knowing all that information before you ever casted a lure in the water, you already know how it works in your head, the design, the way this will change this and this affects that. And so setting reels up actually now is far easier than it's ever been in my entire life, because I actually know how a reel works from the beginning, and it's pretty neat. So for everything about it, so it's kind of cool, you know. It's like totally understanding combustion and how it begins in an engine, you know, and how it's going to, you know, result all the way down the whole spectrum of it. It's cool.
That's so cool. Now you mentioned, you know, when you go out there and you're out there fishing now, do you ever, so you're out there, you cast your line, and you ever sit there and think, okay, now I know how this works. I know how this reel works. You're going through the mechanisms in your mind from what you do for your show,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you do, you know, and like, it's kind of neat because say you're casting into it, or what's funny is, like, I'll set up the beginning, the initial setup, and Speed Demon Elite, for instance, which we've had people say, oh, it's such an amazing reel, love it. And then we have other people, I don't quite understand the brakes, therefore I'm scared of it, or therefore it doesn't cast as good. I don't like it. It scares me. But realistically, truthfully be told, a lot of times it's just setup is not quite in a perfect situation or good. So it's kind of neat. I got that reel and I'm thinking, okay, here we go. Here's what I know. And I've never casted this. This is my first time ever with that brand new, just came out, state-of-the-art reel. And I go, here's what I know. And I know how this works. And I know the concept of this true centrifugal braking system with a micro adjustment on the outside, which is unheard of. So I just quick setup and launch that thing for a mile directly into a headwind. And I go, yep, that's a great design. That's a great design. Loved it, you know, and I ended up fishing with it for the rest of the day. And I think the only issue I had was when I accidentally skipped it. Wasn't paying attention, skipped a lure off the top of the trolling motor. I was like, oh, so kind of, you know, like, it screwed up the spool spin, but no, it was amazing, you know. But it's neat to be able to stand back and go, when you honestly just know, it changes things. And I wish other people, you know, can kind of quite get it. You know, it's kind of like, I'm sure it's like what Al Norker sees. Anytime Al Norker's helped designing this and he's helped testing that and this and that, he can look at a reel and instantly just go, you know how it is whenever you've worked shows with Al.
Yeah.
Al starts talking and you're just mesmerized because the guy just knows. He just knows, and he can convey the information that he knows unlike anybody else out there. But I mean, the guy's such a professional and he's been doing it for, I don't want to say a year amount, you know, how X long and date him, but the guy's been in the business for a long time and worked with the biggest and the baddest. And I think Al could probably relate to me and a lot of the other engineers, like, when you know, and it's a whole different world. You know, it's pretty neat.
Their minds work differently. They can see things before things happen. They know how this is going to work. They see the layout. They're incredible. It's incredible having conversations with them. I'm sure, as you know, you sit down and have a conversation with Scott Thomas or Al Nork, and it's just like, what? Yeah. It's just like,
you sit around, you know, drink a cup of coffee or having a cold one or whatever, and you're like, who thinks this stuff up? Well, they do. You know, guys like them think it up. So anytime you can, like, spend a minute and listen to them and kind of just get into that mind, it's neat.
It is.
It's neat. But what's funny is the more you want to get into their mind, they want to know what you're thinking. They want to know how you liked their processes, their designs, and their engineering, and what works, what doesn't work. Because realistically, it's been done 100 times. So how do you do something different that's already been done 100 different times? So any kind of new aha moment to where they go, I never thought of it that way. And all of a sudden they just opened up to a whole different possible demographic of people that didn't like this product because of this, or somebody didn't like that because of that. And there may be not anything wrong with it.
No.
But if you could somehow adapt a different design that would merge the two, it's neat. It's kind of neat. I mean, there's so much you could talk about it for hours.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It really is fascinating. And we talk about the show and how you have to get everything ready. And there's so much that entails getting ready. People don't understand the process before the show. You're preparing a week or sometimes more ahead of time with products that you have to get, studying the product, learning about it, setting up the show, setting up your guests. It entails a lot. Do you ever get frustrated and overwhelmed? I mean, it must be crazy.
I can't say life can just be frustrating. How's that? Life in general can give you frustrations. So I hate to ever blame anything that I do as a passion to frustrate me. Situations can frustrate you. Things not lining up can frustrate you. I love what I do, and I understand what I do and the different logistics that go around it. It's a very difficult balance game of being a father, a husband, a mentor, I guess, to some people, balancing a day job. And then I always use the hashtags in some of my posts, my other job. And it's true. I got these other jobs that I do because I'm just kind of a weird workaholic. But when you try to balance it all together, because it's just who you are, you either got to figure it out or it's going to crash. And I've been pretty fortunate of figuring it out. I'm sure there's been a time or two where I could have done it better, but you got to learn and keep going. And it can give you frustrations, and you can fall short at times, but it's better to just recognize where you fell short and try to improve for the next time, and I would say, as an example, Facebook and its platform and the internet, it's constantly changing. It's constantly, and you're having to adapt to it. And then just because you have great internet service right now doesn't mean I have great internet service with LTE, 4G or 5G now, or the Wi-Fi and that you're using, or this and that. So when you're broadcasting and receiving and it's going out and this and that, people, they don't quite grasp that, that your service is good and theirs is bad, or vice versa. And it can't be their service. It's got to be your service. And then, there's an echo, or the feed is freezing. And this is all happening live with an audience. And people are staring at you to carry it along and not do that thing where you're pacing and you're like, let me look and see if I can fix this. And that doesn't make for an entertaining show. Maybe somebody likes a sinking ship and that's entertaining to them. But you got to keep running with it. And those are some of the biggest frustrations. And you just go, the show must go on.
I was just going to say,
learn when to pull the plug, and learn when to pull the plug and be like, guys, it's just not happening tonight. I always call it the internet gods are mad at us, or the Facebook gods are not, at ease with the world. So it's not going to run tonight. So, and you adapt and you get done with your broadcast, you make a few calls, discuss a few things. You try to figure out, was it on my end? Was it on their end? Is this controllable? Do we have control of this? We don't have control of this. Well, let's not cry over something we can't control, and move forward. And that's the biggest frustration. It's probably internet connection and all the things that go with it. So
absolutely. As when I was first starting the Facebook Live and I was just getting into the live shows, and I was nervous to begin with, and it just there was such an issue. There was the service. It just kept dropping me. Just kept dropping me, and I'm sitting there live, going, just like you said, what am I gonna do? I'm sweating bullets. I have people staring at me, you know, and my heart's pounding out of my chest, and I'm freaking out. Like, this is live, you know. What am I gonna do? I'm freaking out, you know,
And those
and I call you
milliseconds
up.
are hours at the time.
Yeah. And I call you up and I'm like, AJ, please help me. What do I do? You know, and you gave me advice, and you're like, you know, it happens. You just got to roll with it. The show must go on. You know, you're going to have issues. It's a live feed. Things are going to happen. Things are going to break down. Things are going to bust on you. The service is going to suck. You know, you just got to roll with it. You got to, like anything in life, you got to push through it. And I learned that.
Well, it's like my buddy that's joined the show tonight, Mr. Fly, wherever he went. You know, like I tried to get rid of him before he showed up, but hey, he's a part of the show tonight. So this is
And he's
KastKing
part of the
Live.
show. We make him part of the show. We go on, right?
Mr. Fly.
Now,
Yeah, there's been a time or two where I felt him run across the dome.
I told you, I saw him on your head.
I was just like, oh.
But yeah, we talk about other jobs, and I know you are just crazy with all kinds of stuff. What's your day job? What is it that you do?
So my day job is I wear a lot of hats. I am probably, to me, my most important job is a solutions professional and a customer service professional. So what I mean by that, I work in the automotive industry, and I help manage 3 different automotive businesses. And we do everything from lift kits, wheels, tires, you know, kind of like competing with, you know, I work for a Big O Tires and another establishment, and you know, you try to be competitive in the tire industry, try to offer lift kits, wheels, tires, lowering kits. We do catalytic converters, exhaust, we do custom intakes. We now into car audio, and there's a lot that goes with that, not just, and then there's also vehicle repair and maintenance. So the reason why I say more importantly, I'm in the customer service business is because people come in having problems with their cars, and you're already the enemy because they're the person they have to come talk to. So they're already defensive against you. They're already mad, you know, and so you have to try to show them, okay, here's what we can do. We're here to help. Here's what we can do. And then at other times, if something doesn't go the way that they think it should, now you have to dissolve the situation and resolve the situation, more importantly, to where everybody's happy. And, you know, sometimes you can't make everybody happy, but you got to educate your customer, you know, and let them understand exactly what they're dealing with, so they understand that. And sometimes people don't perceive an education as more of a dictation. They're being dictated and told. And, you know, you try to break that down and go, okay, let's change that. Let's get to a common ground and let's communicate. Let's get to an understanding so you can see where we're at, what's going on with your vehicle, what it's going to take. I understand you can't afford this. Okay, so let's come to a resolve. Let's present these possibilities. And, you know, and I've got a pretty good knack for making somebody feel better, understand the situation. Now they truly know what's going on with their car, and they go, okay, I get it. You know, I see now. Okay, well, what can we do? You know, and it's things like that. So that's an important thing. And then, of course, whenever you have the other side to where you're selling things like car audio, lift kits, now that's somebody just wanting to pimp their ride, you know, and I can help with that. So, but there's a lot that goes into that, and my phone never stops. I mean, I live in a small town, and of course, one of our other businesses is in another town. And so whenever I've kind of been labeled as the guy to see, and that's what I get all the time. I hear you're the man. So I would say, well, I'm not the man, but I'm a man, and I can see what I can do for you. So, you know, and I just talk real with them, you know, and say, here's what it's going to take. What's your budget? What are you looking to do? What can we, you know, let's, I'm the solutions guy. Where are we trying to get? And we're right here. So let's see what we got to do to get here, you know, and so we just get it done, and I break it down as perfect as I can for them and make them happy. So we're constantly, you know, hooking people up, making some nice vehicles. We're repairing vehicles that are broke down and not running right, and we're trying to satisfy every customer as it comes along, and it carries right straight into you know, like the fishing industry. You have to be educated on all your products, and it's a lot of work, you know, and I am in a position to where you know, helping running those 3 different companies, it consumes a big portion of my time even after I clock out. So to clock out, do KastKing live, you know, I'm balancing back and forth between the two. And then of course I do private contract work for the automotive or the audio side, the car audio side, and build like custom door panels and enclosures for car audio, because we don't do that at the store. We sell that kind of stuff, but we don't do any of the custom stuff. And so I'm the only one in the area that knows how to do that custom stuff. So I'm doing that now, you know, and then of course filming, doing different video work. And then I always laugh, my wife, she actually works for the University of Arizona, and she does also, she's now into social media stuff and doing things for YouTube and recording and presenting these different classes and learning opportunities. So she needs a cameraman. So I got another new job. I'm a cameraman, an audio guy, and now an editor for that. So it's fun. I love it, you know, and that's the other job. So it's a lot, you know, there's a lot that goes with it, not to mention, you know, working for another, you know, fishing entity that's into the, you know, the bait and tackle side of it. And man, the sad thing is sometimes it gets blurred in between the two, and I feel bad because your focus can't be 100% everywhere. So you try to do as much as you can, as many places as you can.
I understand that very well. But I mean, you're a man that wears many hats. I mean, you're always doing something, and I love that about you. People like us, we always have to keep busy. We always have to do something, and I don't feel comfortable unless I'm keeping busy. I just can't sit around. It's just not me, and I know that you're the same way. And on top of it all, you're a family man. You're a father, right? You have beautiful children. How many children do you have?
I have two kids. My daughter is going to be turning 17 in December, and then
Oh
which scares
gosh.
me to death because she's almost gone. And that's my buddy right there. That's one of my best friends in the whole world. Then my homie, my son, my bro, he's turning 14. God, yeah, he's turning 14 also in December. So I have, man, what a kick in the pants, right? Right? You got Christmas and two birthdays. We got one birthday is December 23rd, and the other birthday is December 30th. So to have those, all three of those hit, so you got boom birthday, boom Christmas, boom birthday, boom New Year's. I am so broke in December, it hurts.
Oh, that's awesome. But it's worth it to have a beautiful family to spend that time with. That's what it boils down to. Now, on top of all of this, when you do have time, and I'm afraid that you don't, what is it, I mean, that you enjoy doing? Is there something that, I mean, you go out there fishing, obviously, right? That's something to kind of, I would say, escape, but you're also kind of working as well if you're fishing.
So I guess I'm blessed, and I don't know that I take it for granted, but I'm sure I do. I love working in the automotive industry. I'm not saying it's my favorite job in the world, but I do love what I do. I love the car audio side of it. I've always been an audiophile or a car audio fanatic since I was a kid. So to be, you know, in my 40s, still getting to play with car audio stuff, and some people look at it as a toy, but it's so. I mean, music is the world to me. I can't live without music, and I have to have great sound too. So to be able to do that is such a pleasure. And then the fishing side is you know, there, if you look at it, they're all things that I loved, and they're all things that I'm interested. You know, like in the car world, doing lift kits, drop kits, custom work, custom exhaust. These are all things that I love to do, things that I love to be a part of, things that I look at somebody else's, what they did, and I'm like, wow, look at that. Show me what you did here. Oh, that's pretty neat. All right, I get it. You know, I mean, it's a hobby and a day job. And then, you know, same thing with fishing. It started as a hobby and now it's a job, but it's still a passion. And then the car audio, and then, you know, you know, like with my wife, you know, like helping her succeed, and also filming, video editing was never, I can't quite say a hobby, but as I introduced it into my fishing, all of a sudden there's this whole new open door of like, well, I need this camera. I need these kind of microphones, and I need to worry about wind, and I got to look about lighting, and I got to look at backdrops, and I got to look at this and that. So all of a sudden you open this whole other Pandora's box, and you jump into it like full nerd style, you know. So then all of a sudden when you get a chance to use it in something else and share it with somebody who never cared, and all of a sudden they care, you know, and all of a sudden, oh, that's neat. Okay, I get that, you know. And all of a sudden, you start nerd talking back and forth, you know. Oh, it's so cool, you know. Like, so I love that, you know, being able to help her, and the fact that all of a sudden we have something else we can share together. Even though it's, you know, it's husband and wife, so you, are you ready? Are you ready? Are we doing this? But we, you know, we actually love it, you know. Like, that's just being married for so long, but it comes out in the end result, we get it done, and we're like, see, that worked out good. You did good, and you did good, you know. So that's great. But I'd have to say my only other passion or hobby that is kind of a release is cooking. Love to cook. Love to cook. So I guess that's one of my only. But you know what? I've been paid to cook before. I used to do catering, and I used to do barbecue competitions, and I actually worked at a restaurant bar where I was the manager as well as one of the cooks and bartenders.
Wow.
So I've wore a lot of hats in those things. But it's funny because, you know, like they say, if you do what you love, it's never completely work, and you can be tired, you can be frustrated with it, but still at the end, you know, I don't get up every day dragging my feet going, I hate what I'm doing. I don't. I do not. I had a job long time ago where I did, and I haven't had that job in 20 years.
What do they say? If you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life, right?
Yeah.
And it's absolutely true.
To a degree, it's very true.
If you give me just 1 minute, we have to have a word from our sponsors. KastKing offers you affordable innovation through the best fishing tackle, including a wide variety of quality fishing rods, fishing reels, fishing line, and fishing accessories. Look for KastKing products on Amazon.com, Tackle Warehouse, AcademyOutdoors.com, eBay, and of course, KastKing.com. Make the switch to KastKing like so many fishing pros have. All right, and we are back with Mr. Give It Away, AJ Gore. We were just talking about passions, and obsessions, and cooking. Oh my God, you have me hungry right now. So you were into cooking. I see your recipes that you post online, and you have me drooling on some of these recipes. They look incredible. And you've always learned to cook like that? Is that something you've learned yourself?
So my mom was the primary cook growing up, and then my dad, you know, he had his things he cooked, you know, I'm sure with a lot of families did, you know, in similar situations. So there's a lot of different things that I always learned to cook for my dad, and then a lot of things that I learned from my mom. But then as you get older, if you have a passion for something, you dive into it deeper. And so you think, okay, I've got this family recipe and I've got that. And then you start looking at different things in the culinary world, and you start learning like the correct building blocks and structures of culinary cuisine, and you start implementing the things that you pick up and learn. And there's a guy, if I can name drop, named Alton Brown that I was a huge fanatic of, and he had a show called Good Eats. I don't know if we could say that on Food Network, and I adored that show. I watched that show for 10 years, and he broke down kind of like, you know, what I love so much about what I do with KastKing, how to learn the products. He broke down the fundamentals of all these different meals, and he even talked about the anthropology of it, like where this dish came from this part of the world, and why did it come from this part of the world at this time, and what the influences were. And it was fascinating to me. Like, I adored it. And then he would go into, and he did it all within 30 minutes, showed you how it was made, where it comes from, why it was made this way, you know, the different things that were around. And it just fascinated me. So then you start learning, okay, here's the different ways of cooking these new cuisines. And then you can just start playing with the stuff and adapting to it and changing these family recipes that have been so delicious your whole life, but then you just added a whole new spin to it that's yours. I just love it. I don't know. I love it. I love it. I love doing that.
Would this be something that you would do if you weren't into like KastKing or having your other job in the automotive business? Do you think this is something that you would pursue?
Totally. Like the restaurant bar industry is a tough one. You know, it is. I'm sure you could drive through your cities and neighborhoods and see restaurants and bars that have opened for years and then closed for years, opened for years and then closed for years. It's up and down, and it goes with the economy, management, so many different things. There's a lot of different things behind any business that makes them successful or not successful. But I could definitely say that from doing both, the bartending, the bar world, as well as the the restaurant side of it and culinary side and cooking side, presenting a product to the consumer. There's a lot of legalities. There's a lot of pros and cons. There's a lot of things that you have to abide by, like, your different, I'm trying to think of it, the different standards that you have to make sure that you're meeting, and the cleanliness and the presentation. It's a rough world. And then of course you get into the cost of goods and what does it take to make this dish, and can you make it affordable? But yes, absolutely. I have tossed around with it, God, for years. It's funny, just, I have a relative of mine, my cousin. He's as passionate, if not more, than I am about, cooking. And he and I can tell you 3-4 times a week, we're constantly sending each other pictures of the dishes that we're making. And we always do this thing where we'll just text each other, hey, like on the weekend, what's on your stove? Because the weekends are when we're somewhat free to maybe, we're maybe operating out of the house instead of, at some other area. So we can maybe plan a slow cook day or something. And I'll be like, what's on your stove? Or he'll text me, what's on your stove? And we'll just send each other snippets and pictures and try to guess. And we'll share recipes back and forth and stuff. But I always think if I'm ever going to open a restaurant, I'd love him to be involved, because I think we could just kill it, man. We could kill it. Have such a cool place, but it scares me to death because, running a business 100% yourself it's a big jump, and that's a hard business to run, especially in this day and age. And then look at COVID. COVID put a lot of businesses and bars under, and that would have doomed a lot of people. So that brings a whole other thought process. They call it the new normal, and I don't want it to be the new normal. A lot of people don't want it to be the new normal. So no. You have to look and say, is it the new normal? Are we going to live like this? Does it completely restructure everything, or will it come back? They're talking about now that this new vaccine is like 90% effective or done, or it's supposed to have great results. And will we get back to normal, what we call the original normal living soon? Like, it's got so many influences, man. It changes so much. It scares you to think, do I want to make a jump? Do I want to make a change? And maybe someday. But then I also think, God, I'm in my 40s now. Better do something quick if I'm going to do it.
Well, like you said, it entails a lot. I mean, that's your life. The restaurant business, you're from morning to night. You can't take vacations. You can't go away. You can't leave the place. I mean, you are there. You live it. It is living, breathing.
Life.
It's your life. And it's like you said, it's a big step, but also we both know life is short. And if you have a passion and a heart for something and you want to go for it, you go for it. But unfortunately, again, like we just mentioned, this COVID, it's really hurt a lot of these small businesses around. I go around my town here in Florida in Summerfield, and places that I used to go to before COVID hit. And I love these places. There was this place called Sweet Tomatoes. It was just you know what it is? I loved it. Yes. It was soup and salad. So like I live off soup and salad, man. And I will go in there.
Love soups too.
They closed because of this COVID, and I mean, I was so hurt. I was really hurt.
Buffet style operation, yeah.
I know, and it's sad. It's hurtful. I mean, has it affected you, your businesses in any way? COVID.
So, COVID has actually, I can't say that it's hurt us. It's been good for us, and you almost feel guilty saying that because, and please, anybody watching this or hearing this, don't think that we're reaping the benefits from somebody else's loss or somebody's heartaches and problems, because we're not in that industry to ever benefit from that. Where I believe it's been good for us is you had a lot of people that weren't working, or a lot of people that were put on furlough, a lot of people that were working from home. And now all of a sudden they're gifted to a degree, or burdened, however you want to take it, with a lot more time on their hands. And idle hands get them thinking, oh, I need to, I'm not working much, so I can't afford to go out and get that brand new Beamer I wanted to get. I need to take care of this old Ford truck, So they reinvest into that vehicle, or they get bored and they're sitting at home and they go, you know what? I wanna lift my truck now. And you know, I ended up getting this stimulus money, you know, I'm gonna put it here, you know, and you can't decide with and where, you know, people how they invest it, what they spend it on. Some people are dumping it on Cheetos and Xbox, you know, and like who knows? Some people are paying off bills with it, and other people are buying needed repairs on their automotives in order to keep that automobile still being able to take the family here and there when they need to, and because they can't go buy a new one because of certain situations. So COVID has actually helped us. We've seen bigger numbers. Actually, we've had a big influx in traffic and people coming in and investing in vehicles they already own. So financially, anytime a business can see a growth in numbers, it's a gain. It's a positive, you know. So COVID hasn't hurt us, so to speak. Now we're also coming into the second wave of COVID, as they say, where there's no more stimulus money. People are still out of work. They've burned up a lot of savings. So COVID may give us the exact opposite in this second wave of COVID. We may now start seeing empty bays and people just can't afford to keep investing or invest, or the ones that blew their money on Xbox and Cheetos now can't afford those brakes, you know, or that radiator that just started leaking on Saturday, you know, and you need a new one. So we'll see what it does. I mean, it's you just have to adapt, you know, and COVID hasn't quite hurt us. We've seen differences, we've seen things, but it's also made us busier.
Absolutely. Like you said, adapt. We have to adapt and overcome. And I just pray that everybody stays safe. And I pray that the people that were suffering and hurting from this can come out of this, and that we can move forward. And like you said, I don't want to hear that new normal. I just want to get back to normal.
I just can't accept it. I can't wait for us to figure out a way to get back to it. I don't think we should ever say the new normal. I think we should say, like, and I think that's part of the problem is we can't let that be the new normal, but we can work to get through it to get back to normal. There is no new normal. Let's work to get back to normal. That's the way I look at it.
Absolutely. I concur 100%. Now, before we leave tonight, I have to ask you, the name Give It Away AJ. Everybody wants to know, you know, there's people that don't know. How did you get that? You're always giving things away. Was that something from a long time ago? Did it start with the show?
It's funny because we do giveaways. It for the most part started with the show. You know, you see the YouTube surges, Facebook promotions, Instagram. Everybody's giving something away. Everybody's giving something away. As a matter of fact, a buddy of mine actually just won a truck and $5,000 cash, like legit, from a YouTube video. Like he bought a keychain and a hat, and spent like a total investment of $27. Won a whole truck and 5,000 cash. Saw the PayPal deposit, like legit. It's crazy. It's crazy. I have actually Scott Martin and Bill Dance. I actually won. I won some swag from them. A Garmin fish finder, some Bass Pro Shop, like rain gear, like, yeah, that can happen. So to you guys out there watching, Give It Away AJ realistically gives things away. And there are true giveaways out there, but understand there are some fake ones too. So really got to watch. But people do win, and you can't win if you don't play. But the whole name of the Give It Away AJ thing, the name came from Ricky Farley, who I gave the name The Human Forklift. That's a whole other conversation. But Ricky Farley always says he wants royalties every time that the name Give It Away AJ is used. So every time we say Give It Away AJ, he's got this little dollar sign, ching, ching, rolling in his eyes, but for his royalties. But no, it started, you know, back from you know, with KastKing, Lucky Tackle Box, and then, you know, Monster Bass and Wasp Cams, and a lot of the different entities that I've represented over time. You know, they're always wanting to hook the people up, especially KastKing. KastKing has given tons of giveaways away, and you know, and Monster Bass, Rick over at Monster Bass, he's definitely helping the people out all the time. But with KastKing is where I truly, really got the name Give It Away AJ, and it's just you're just hooking people up. And then one day, Ricky and I were out fishing. We were talking about stuff, and I was like, I got this giveaway coming up. We're gonna be doing this, and he goes, they ought to just call you Give It Away AJ. That should be your hashtag. And there it was. I can't tell you how many things have come from conversations and ideas from just on a boat, fishing, hanging out, you know, yakking. Total garbage is most of the conversation is crap. there's a whole lot of not good that comes from some of the conversations, you know, just laughing and being just letting loose. But it's funny, of all the things that get talked about, you go, you know what? Yeah, that's it, right? That's it right there, you know. And some of my favorite things is actually, it's coming up again, and I'm not sure, it depends on what's going on with COVID, but we always do that big, huge giveaway for Christmas. And it's kind of fun because in November is usually when I start shooting it. And I just started looking, I'm like, wow, it's November, you know, right now, and getting dang near to the middle of it. And I haven't shot any video work for the advertisement for the giveaway show, if we're going to do one this year due to COVID. But it's fun to be out there Thanksgiving time filming in a Santa suit on a boat in the middle of a lake. You get everybody waving at you. You get people honking, and then of course, if you got kids on the shoreline, I end up throwing them a bunch of freebies and goodies. I've always got some kind of a goodie I can sling someone. But yeah, that's Ricky Farley. He deserves all the credit in the world for giving away AJ.
Oh, that is awesome. That is something I know that the people wanted to know. I mean, I wanted to know. I never knew it. I just always knew you as, actually, we were in ICAST. Was it ICAST or the Bassmaster Classic when we were doing shows?
I think it was the Bassmaster.
That's it. We were doing shows and you're throwing stuff away, and you were out there, and everybody's like, "That's give it away, AJ." I'm like, he is awesome. And
that was
yeah.
that was a fun show. And I think that was actually where it was really just taken off. The whole give it away AJ thing was taken off, and I actually signed autographs quite a bit at that show, which was wild to me. I mean, it was wild. You know, I'm like, I'm just like you guys. You know, I just do a weird show in my basement. So
that's awesome. Now, my last question is there, what are we to expect for any upcoming KastKing live shows? Is there some really cool stuff coming out, or you got something in the works? You got some things going on?
So I live in an area where internet service is not very good, but we're working with that, trying to, and of course, there's always new technologies. And I actually need to call my provider because there's supposed to be this new package that's going to make internet 10 times better where I'm at. I live out in the boonies, right? So, but I would say as long as the internet gets better, I want to bring a better twist, but it also, like we discovered or discussed, just when you have the freezing, the glitches, the this and that, even with some of the best internet, you see some of the best stuff still have problems. And I want to get past that, but I also want to get to where I can provide a better platform, a better show, and multi-stream on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all at the same time. As a matter of fact, I'm actually in the process of trying to work out the ability to run a co-show where I'm live on Facebook and YouTube without all the problems. It's been done before. Multiple different entities have done it, but I've also seen it done and flawed quite a bit to where it becomes more of a problem, more of a heartache, and they pull the plug on it and end up only focusing on one show. So if we could get to the masses to where we could multi-stream on several different platforms, kind of like what I have listed here. You can't see YouTube here, or I'm sorry, this is Instagram here where our little bubble is, but the goal is to be able to be live on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, so long as a quality product and an ability comes available to let us and allow us to do that, or we have workarounds, which we are trying to do a workaround right now to multi-stream. As far as products go, God, when is there not something coming? I know we've got ice fishing products coming, and somebody might go, you can't talk about that yet, but we've kind of already let that out of the bag. We've got the new Extremist sister company to KastKing, that is an outdoor company, and they just keep dropping cool things. One of the latest, love the cups, love the hammocks. The hammocks are so, you got one of the coolest videos about the hammocks out there. There's so many cool things. So KastKing's gonna always keep coming. We have the Speed Demon Pro Rod, which is phenomenal. We just had the Speed Demon Elite, world's fastest bait caster. We've got the Spiral rods with American Tackle Guides, a spiral around it. The Cliff crocheted that. And then the Bassnator. There's so many great products I could talk about, but guess what? They're old news now, aren't they? They kind of are. And that's the way KastKing looks at it, is they're great and they'll be great forever. But they do become old news. So we need to stay ahead of the curve and keep coming out. And, COVID has presented a lot of issues there, and we keep going back to COVID. But, the reason why everybody keeps going back to COVID is because COVID hasn't gone away, and COVID keeps presenting problems. So they're still working to get around those problems, but that doesn't mean that our top guys and designers and engineers and our think tanks aren't still sitting around going, and you and I both know that they're going, what can we do new? What can we do fresh? And the guys, like we said, they're listening to the consumers going, I never thought of it that way. And they start drawing. They start engineering. They start coming up with stuff. So there are products, I promise you right now, that are in people's hands, researching and developing, designing, that we may not see for another 2 years, but they're there. They're being worked on. And they're going to be the latest and greatest and the new thing. And it's exciting after doing this for 7 years. Every time a new product comes out, I'm looking at it going, so cool. This is so cool, and I'm just happy to be able to do that. So yeah, KastKing's got some cool stuff coming. What it is right now, I don't know yet. I can promise you, rods, reels, line, we're forever going to be innovative in that stuff. But the outdoor company side of it with extremists, good Lord, who knows, because that's a huge market of just all kinds of goodies that can come from that. So we'll see where KastKing, goes. They've impressed us so far. They keep coming with things that are even bigger and better. And they take these designs that are fantastic and they go back after it's all said and done and go, how can we make it better? Or what can we do different? So then there'll be a new, even better design. And that's exciting. And it's crazy. It's crazy. And all the while affordable.
Absolutely.
That's the best part.
That is the best part. Affordable innovation. And that's what I love about KastKing. AJ, what can I say? I mean, thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on the show tonight. Thank you for being you, for who you are, and for being a mentor to me, someone to look up to, for getting me started in KastKing, and for your friendship. It really, truly means a lot. And thank you for coming on tonight.
Not a problem. I'm just giving it away. AJ's just doing my thing. So thank you very much for allowing me to come on the show. It's kind of nice to be on the other end, getting interviewed and being on somebody else's show. It's kind of cool. Kind of forgot what it feels like. So thank you very much, man. It's awesome. Thank you.
KastKing spells affordable innovation. Make the switch to KastKing for the best value in fishing gear. KastKing offers you an affordable, quality alternative to high-priced fishing products. Thanks for spending time today with KastKing on the Line. Keep grinding, stay strong, always stay humble, and always keep on fishing. I'll catch you in the next adventure. Thanks, AJ.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye.